I have been told Linux works with Nvidia. Linux doesn't work with Nvidia. I've been told Linux does work with Nvidia. I've been told Linux doesn't work with Nvidia. And I decided to go ahead and get myself an Nvidia card. We've got a 5060, and there's a whole bunch of reasons on why I chose the 5060. And, I actually explain the reason for that. I'll put the video down in the description when I did the unboxing for the 5060. But Linux works just fine. Sure, it's not perfect, but neither is AMD or Intel chipsets. Let's go ahead though and install Nobara, and we can show you guys that games run just fine with some tweaks because it's Linux. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up everybody's favorite web browser, which decides to take me to part of the spoilers for this episode. Don't know why Brave does that. Oh, good lord. Come on. There we go. And we're going to go to google.com and we're going to type in Ventoy, Ventoy. And that's going to take us to ventoy.net being the option that we're going to select there. And then we're going to go to downloads and we're going to do windows.zip because we're on Windows. And we're going to come down here and click ventoy windows.zip. And that is going to download the first program that we need. We'll throw that into our downloads folder. Now, Ventoy is a very useful program to have, and it's going to be great in case you want to switch distributions, or in the unlikely event you decide that you want to go back to Windows. Let's be realistic. There's going to be a good chance that there's going to be a time where you decide, I need a break. I'm going to go back to something I'm familiar with. You literally can just throw the ISO on. I'll show you how to do that with the Nobara ISO. It's just as simple when it comes to the Windows ISO. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to our friend Google. This is we're going to go to nobaraproject.org. But you can find that with Nobara and Nobara Linux, nobaraproject.org. And then we're going to go to downloads. And I'm going to select the KDE environment, but underneath the Nvidia option, we're going to see this is my KDE. You can do the GNOME environment. It just depends on what you want to do. Go ahead and click download, and we will download that. I already have it downloaded. Next thing I'm going to do is show you guys how to do the Ventoy disk. So we're going to come over here to downloads. We're going to grab our Ventoy disk. We're going to drag and drop this over to desktop or wherever you want to drag and drop it to. Double click that and double click this Ventoy disk, Ventoy 2 disk, right? In my situation, I have the USB that we're going to be using right here. We're going to go to options and we're going to go over to properties. Let's see. Partition style. And we're going to change it to GPT. All right. And then we're just going to go ahead and click install and yes, and yes. It's going to delete everything that's on the drive. That's what it's telling us. And we're just going to go ahead and let this do its little thing. Sets up our USB as a Ventoy disk. And this is where the magic is about to happen. All right, if we go to downloads, we grab our Nobara install and we drag and drop that down into our Ventoy disk. It's going to copy. That's all that we need to do. We'll boot into the Ventoy disk and it'll load the ISO. So if you've seen people where it's like, hey, you have to burn the ISO to a USB and la da da da, this makes it to where you can have multiple disk images that you can boot into to install different Linux distros or Windows, stuff like that. And you put it all onto one disk. So you don't have 32 gigs worth of storage that's being eaten up by that. You can literally even go into this Ventoy disk and you can use it for other things. So if you're like, hey, I've got a few pictures that I want to save or whatever, you can throw them onto this drive. It's agnostic when it comes to that. It'll only show you the ISO images. So once that's done, we'll be right back. All right, and that part is done. We have the Ventoy disk already transferred over. We're gonna go here to start. We're gonna click power, and we're gonna go ahead and click restart. Now, in my situation, I have an Asus motherboard. I'm gonna go ahead and put my thing up at the top here that shows what boot options you're gonna want to click depending on what motherboard you have. We're gonna go ahead and spam F8 for me. That's what we're gonna do is we're gonna spam F8. Search of Incredible. Hopefully one day they find it. All right. So we have this right here. Now with the Ventoy disk, right? Mine's my Samsung flash disk right here is my Ventoy disk. You'll see that has partition 1 and partition 2. For my situation, it says Samsung. For your situation, it might say something else, but partition 2 is what you're going to want to select. Now that we're here in our Ventoy disk, we're going to go ahead and click enter, enter, and then that's it. We've loaded into it. No fancy burning or anything like that. Real easy, nice and simple. Does take a little bit of time, but so does burning it, and then you have to burn another ISO to the USB, and it's way less cumbersome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and click enter on test media and start Nobara. So this is going to go through and make sure that everything's fine, that there's no tampered with files, everything passes the expected, outcome. Shouldn't be a significant concern. Go ahead and let this run through, and when that's done, we'll be right back. All right, and after what feels like an eternity, you finally make your way to the Nobara screen here. So we're going to go ahead and click next. I'm in the New York time zone, so I'm going to go with that. All of this stuff, you should know how to handle it. It's yours. We're going to go with Rifters Tech is the username. The actual, or well, your name, and then the username is going to be lowercase. Name of the computer, Nobara PC is fine for me. Our password is going to be 1234. And we're going to reuse that password and automatically log in. We're going to go ahead and click next. Now, this is the fun part. If you're deciding to install alongside like a Windows install, you can go ahead and click install alongside. Real easy, simple process here. We're going to select the disk that we want, and then there's this little slider that lets us decide how much. This is going to be what Windows has. This is going to be what Nobara has. How much we want to actually have available to each system. If you're like me and you have another drive that you're going to install to, we'll go ahead and select that drive and erase disk. BTRFS is what we're going to use for our install. You can also use ext4 or XFS. XFS is for more like larger file system type stuff, largely used with like servers. BTRFS has some backup options, so if you plan on doing like automatic backup systems and everything, you can do that. That's a whole nother game. We're here to see how Nvidia works inside of this. Alrighty, and install now. And this is going to take a little bit of time. This is going to take a minute. If you're interested in something to do during that long amount of time, like getting enough coffee, you've already been through like 6 cups. Nobara takes a while to do the install. You can go ahead and play through this wonderful game. And once you get to the end, you can just start another game again, or just drink a lot of coffee. We'll be back once this installation process is finished here. And we'll go ahead and show you some of the tweaks and things that we need to do once we're doing our NVIDIA side of things. All right, and now all we have to do is click restart now and click done. And I'm going to go ahead and set up all of the Steam stuff just to get that out of the way, because everything's pretty easy and bog standard as far as a Linux install is concerned. I'm not showing you how to do Linux installs here. Fully just kind of showing like, hey, this is where you're supposed to go and have the NVIDIA style one. So when it comes to Nobara, I'm not showing you how to do that just because everything like Steam and Discord and all of those things come pre-installed on Nobara. So we'll go ahead and hop on over into that. I'll set everything up. Just log into Steam like you would with Windows. And once we get there, I'll show you some of the other stuff that we have. All right. We'll see you on the other side of it. That's my bad. Sorry, real quick, if anybody was wondering where Discord was in any portion of that process. When you get into your welcome screen, I guess I do need to show stuff like this. You're going to need to load up your update tool for Nobara and let that run through the updates. It's going to do that there. And then we have optional things like Proton GE, Open Software Manager, which is just their software manager down there. But also install things like Discord, you're going to want to do that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get a game downloaded and everything. We'll be right back at it. All right, so I got all the installs done and everything. So we're here. We're going to be showing off Abyssus, which is a fantastic game. I absolutely love everything about this game, but that's not our key focal point. First things first, we're going to go ahead and do Control Alt T. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do cd/etc/mod probe mod probe .d/. All right. Then what we're going to do, and you're going to want to do this if you have an Nvidia card, right? And then we're going to want to do sudo nano, and it's going to be Nvidia, and then hit tab, and it'll actually auto config, and it'll say Nvidia modeset.com. All right. Enter in your password, and we're going to come down here real quick. Go to the end of it, press space, and we're going to do capital N, capital V, REG, underscore, capital P, RESERVE, capital V, IDEO, capital A, LLOCATIONS, equals 1. We're going to press space again, and we're going to do NV, capital N, capital V, REG, underscore, capital T, EMPORARY, capital FILE, capital PATH, equals /VAR/TE or TMP, right? Control S and Control X to save. What that's going to do, if you haven't had a seizure from listening to me to spell things out, what that's going to do is that when this display goes to sleep, it'll actually come back. All right, so I'm going to have those commands that were on the screen during that process. So you'll be set. You'll have all that information there. Very effective. Thankfully, Moji helped me actually figure out where I was going wrong with that particular problem. Now we're at Abyssus, so we're going to go ahead and click play. And once the game loads up, I'll be right back because it does take a little bit of time to start up the first time. And this game's a lot of fun. If you think that this is it and we're done, don't think that this is it and we're done, because you're gonna. I'm showing it for a reason. See how laggy and whatnot it is. Like this is not the experience that we want to have out of our world of. Oh man, this is okay. So maybe everybody was right about how Linux is with Nvidia. It's kind of trashy. The problem that is actually no cancel. The problem that is actually the physics part with the 50 series cards, right? And I'm specifically speaking to 50 series cards because they removed PhysX, which is stupid. I don't know why Nvidia decided to do that. It's a dumb idea. They shouldn't have done it, but they did. They chose to do that. So if you go into games that are having a hard time running because they rely on PhysX, you're going to go into the launch options by right-clicking, going to properties on the game that you're having problems with, and putting in here the hyphen DX9, right? And we're going to go ahead and close that, and then we'll go ahead and click play. And the game should actually launch faster this time, because it's, going to be a little bit happier too. Now that we're already in the game, which, a little bit of a lie earlier. It isn't because it's the first time it started. It's because I didn't have that PhysX. Let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and play. We're going to load right in. And you should already notice that there is not as much stuttering going on. Things aren't as pretty, necessarily. Let's see. Graphics. Ultra. Shadows, high, ultra. Visual effects. Ultra. Apply. Ready? There's that. I just want to see what it's like with the Ultra because on default it's very pretty. Still works well. Now you don't want to rely on it in you don't want to rely on changing it in the game settings. You want to actually force that argument inside of the Steam side of it. So inside of the launch options. Not bad actually. I don't mind that. But if you notice that there's not as much of a stuttering. So through everything on Ultra, we're going to drop everything to high. Because I don't personally play things on high. I just don't need that, you know, graphical fidelity. It's gonna have some complaints because we just changed the setting. But now the gameplay is nice and smooth, right? So that's all. That's mainly what I wanted to show was like, I guess I don't have anything else to say. We'll see you guys in the next one. Don't be afraid to dive on into the Rift. Do you use Nvidia? What operating system do you prefer to be in? What distro do you like? Stuff like that. Just go ahead, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next one, or leave a comment.